This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, November the 15th, 1992, almost 30 years ago, the greatest NASCAR race of all time has happened. The 92 season was huge. The 92 Hooters 500 in Atlanta was the 29th and final race of the 92 NASCAR season. A lot of people said it's the greatest NASCAR race of all time, with three stories dominating the race. The debut of Jeff Gordon in the Winston Cup Series, so Jeff Gordon would finally race in the NASCAR thing. The final race of Richard Petty's 35-year career, which he won 7 times. And the battle for the series points championship with 6 drivers eligible to win. It was amazing and all that. A massive background. The old NASCAR point system was around since 1975, and the drivers would have to compete for the most points over the course of the system. The playoff system didn't start till 2004. Kind of controversial, if you will. Since each driver's point total was cumulative, this meant if a driver had a successful season leading up to the final race, he could be mathematically guaranteed the championship by having an insurmountable points lead or enough of a points lead that he could guarantee himself the title. There were a lot of times that 2 or 3 drivers could have a chance. Unfortunately, it was 6 drivers. This was amazing. So 6 drivers had to put up or shut up. Entering the 92 Hooters 500, there were 6 drivers, as I said, mathematically eligible. In 6th place with 113 points back was Mark Martin, who is known as the greatest protagonist in NASCAR history. 5th place was Kyle Petty, who was actually Richard Petty's son, right? Yeah, the son of Richard Petty. So he was going to he had a chance to win the NASCAR championship if, and with his father playing his last race. Harry Gant was 4th with 97 points back. And, Harry Gant wasn't really that big of a name, unless you were in the South. 3rd place, 40 points back, entering the race was Bill Elliott, who was iconic. And I did it, birthday boy thing, on how good Bill Elliott was and how he influenced the first racing video game. Alan Kulwicki was 2nd, 30 points back, and he looked good. But Davey Allison was in the driver's seat. All he needed to do was do well in the race, and he could get his first title. Richard Petty was going to retire. He actually planned on running the entire season. And it was amazing. He qualified for every race. Petty actually led the first 5 laps at the Pepsi 400 in Daytona, but he fell flat. Petty got lucky and all that. Yeah. So anyway, the race was huge. Down the stretch they came. Over 160,000 fans came to Atlanta Speedway to see Richard Petty's final ride and watch the championship battle. Pole sitter Rick Mast was on the pole with Brett Bodine behind him. So it was down to the battle. So Mark Martin had the best starting position of the 6 drivers who still needed to win the race, to win the championship, and that he was 4th. Dale Earnhardt was not there, but he was qualified 3rd. So it was time to race. Time to race. Early in the race, Dale Earnhardt and Irvin would trade the lead for the first 60 laps. There was an accident. Davey Allison got hit from behind after a crash. And Brett Bodine crashed, but he survived. So Elliott, Allison, and Kulwicki were in the top 10 with Gant, Martin, and Petty near the back of the pack. So by the first round of green flag pit stops, Bill Elliott was the highest runner in 5th place. Michael Waltrip spun out. After the caution came out, Bill Elliott assumed the lead with Kulwicki second, Martin fourth, and Gant fifth. So those 4 guys were still fighting for it. There was a lot of pit stop problems. Alan Kulwicki had issues. But you fixed the problem. Unfortunately, Richard Petty would crash. The crash, as Rich Bickle was racing, but Petty ran into him and destroyed the front end of the car, breaking the oil cooler. The car was badly damaged and his return to race was in question, but he still was around. At the 100 lap mark out of 200 laps, Allison would win the title on his points thing, with Kulwicki second, Elliott third. So anyway, Jeff Gordon actually had his Chevy in the pits for service, but a roll of duct tape was left on the trunk lid. Gordon would finish 31st in his race. The race was huge at the finish because with the race now under caution due to the Allison Irvin wreck, Kulwicki was the points leader. Nevertheless, it was a battle royale. Bill Elliott won the race, his 5th race in 1992. And Kulwicki spun and got the series championship. Kulwicki's win was by 10 points, the closest since until 2011, when Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards were fighting for the title, but Tony Stewart won more races, so that's why he got in. Richard Petty did get his car out of the pit. So he finished 35th. At least he finished it. Kulwicki was shocked he got the title. All of that. Junior Johnson would fire Tim Brewer for his error that cost Bill Elliott the chance at the championship. So the winner was Bill Elliott with Alan Kulwicki second and Jeff Bodine third. Eric Gant would take 13th. Kyle Petty would take 16th. Davey Allison was running, but he finished 27th. And Mark Martin was out of the race because of his engine and took 32nd officially. So it was amazing and all that. So at the end, Alan Kulwicki beat Bill Elliott by 10 points for the title. Davey Allison took third. So this race was actually made transition from old age to the new age of NASCAR, with younger drivers becoming great, and especially Jeff Gordon. I mean, Jeff Gordon's one of the best drivers in the modern era. It's the only race that Richard Petty, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt took the green flag together. So it was huge. As I said, Bill Elliott's crew chief was fired. All that. Now here's the thing. If Bill Elliott actually led the most laps in the race, but she didn't. I believe that was who led the most race. Total laps lap. That was Kulwicki with 103. Elliott was 102. If Elliott had more laps, won, it would have been a tie. It would have been a virtual tie because of the most laps. And Elliott would have actually won because he had 5 titles to Kulwicki's 2. Anyway, Dale Earnhardt had one of his worst seasons of his career. And they say 92, that was the worst. Jimmy Hensley won the Rookie of the Year award. ESPN TV rating was 4.1, which was close to the record set in '87 by the Winston 500. But anyway, it was huge. Kulwicki was the last owner/driver to win the series championship until Tony Stewart did it in 2011. Unfortunately, tragedy would ruin everyone. Would ruin things. 2 of the championship race drivers would not actually survive the next season. 3 days before the Food City 500 in Bristol, Alan Kulwicki was killed in a plane crash alongside many executives from Hooters. Kulwicki was making an appearance in Knoxville at Hooters, but then he was headed for Bristol and then he died in the crash. 3 days before he was to race. Like, the guy didn't even, like, this was November, so this guy didn't even last 6 months after his title. Worst of all, 3 months later, July 12th, Davey Allison was flying his helicopter to Talladega. But unfortunately, he crashed trying to land the helicopter in a closed-in section of the Talladega infield because he was going to watch David Bonnet test a car. Allison would have grave head injuries and die the next morning. It was just terrible and all that. You know, like, Kulwicki and Allison both dying, like, a few months apart, and they didn't even last one full season after the 92 chase. Just sad. It just shouldn't happen this way. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.